I did my presentation on severe emotional disturbance. The definition under IDEA says that emotional disturbance means a condition exhibiting one or more of the following characteristics over a long period of time to a marked degree and adversely affects a child's educational performance. So I'm going to read these. Inability to learn that cannot be explained by intellectual, sensory, or health factors. An inability to build or maintain satisfactory interpersonal relationships with peers and teachers. Inappropriate types of behavior or feelings under normal circumstances. A general pervasive mood of unhappiness or depression. A tendency to develop physical symptoms of fears associated with personal or school problems. So, what is severe emotional disturbance? So, I didn't think that this was going to be a common disorder. So, this quote was very interesting to me. It says about 6% of students with disabilities are classified as having emotional disturbance nationally, so in the United States. So, these are the 6 categories that I found that I kind of identify severe emotional disturbance. So, majority of the individuals who do have severe emotional disturbance fall under these 6. So the first one is anxiety disorders, the next is bipolar disorders, conduct disorders, eating disorders, and obsessive compulsive disorder, and psychotic disorder. Is there a cause? I wrote, severe emotional disturbance does not have any specific cause that doctors or professionals can eliminate, but there are a few factors that have been researched to lead to this disorder, especially on children. While large amounts of research are being worked on every day to find out what exactly causes severe emotional disturbance, factors that have been identified to include heredity, brain disorders, diet, stress, and how a family functions. So, is there a treatment? This disorder is a very comprehensive. So teachers, families, psychologists must do thorough data collection before they are able to begin making progress in their treatment. After enough data is collected, all parties involved begin progress monitoring the individual, ensuring that they are attempting to work on the different strategies and behaviors talked about in therapy. Another factor that is important throughout this process is to be self-monitoring and to have an open dialogue with the psychologist about their progress. Personally, what I've seen throughout this process is I feel like there just has to be a lot of honesty throughout all parties involved. So that includes teachers, psychologists, and the individual with the disability themselves. They need to know what's going on in their lives and who is helping them and who is involved throughout that process. So these are a few myth or fact things that I saw that I just kind of thought were crazy that people would even believe. So having a severe emotional disability means that you are weak. So I found this one because, and I think that it's important to talk about because a lot of people think that with mental illness, if you do have a mental illness, that means that you're weak, but it actually is a disability. It's not something that they're choosing. It's not something that they can really help. So this is a myth. Severe emotional disturbance is a disorder that is only treated at home, and that is also a myth. So like I said before, severe emotional disturbance is a very comprehensive disorder, so it needs to be treated in all aspects of the child's life or individual's life. So that means at school, at home, at sports. Professionals and people who are in their lives can always be working to help this individual to better themselves. So, common behavior traits. So, severe emotional disturbance greatly affects individuals behaviorally. Some behavioral effects caused by severe emotional disturbance include hyperactivity, aggression, or self-injurious behavior. Erratic behavior is most common when students are set off and begin to react to triggering events. So a lot of times when students with severe emotional disturbance are set off, they do become aggressive or self-injurious or erratic and kind of unpredictable. So that's where a lot of these traits come in. So social emotional traits that come along with severe emotional disturbance. In terms of social aspects, students with severe emotional disturbance tend to fall behind in comparison to their peers. This includes seeming younger and less mature than other students of their age. These issues may lead to affect children struggling to make friends, as their peers could view them differently due to their immaturity. This goes hand in hand with the final social effect, that they tend to be more withdrawn socially. This could be due to a variety of reasons, ranging from not fitting in to not having similar interests due to being less developed. Academic traits. It is common for students to fall behind in their classroom. A teacher needs to give a lot of attention to those with severe emotional disturbance. Missing out on students' cues after being triggered can be a game changer for an entire day for that student. Picking up on cues and keeping the student engaged along with the rest of the class is extremely important in helping to prevent these students from falling behind academically. So I have actually firsthand seen a student with severe emotional disturbance, and he was in a class of roughly 25 to 30 students, and he was actually triggered and set off in the class while he was there. And because the teacher had not been fully aware of what he was doing, because she did have so many other students in the class, he was set off and became very aggressive and erratic and ended up eloping from the classroom because he wasn't paid attention to. So something just as simple as checking in once during each subject could be really beneficial to a student like this. Assistive technology. So I didn't really think that there was going to be a whole lot of technology for students with emotional disabilities that would be so beneficial to helping them progress. But VSM, so this stands for visual modeling. So it typically refers to teacher-created videos demonstrating desired skills or behaviors where the student is the video model performing the skill at a level higher than his or her typical display. So the student will be pretending to do something that they don't really know how to do, but they can pretend that they can do. So they will be doing something such as having a good conversation with someone, if that's something that they can't normally do, and then they can watch it and practice it, and it can be a good guide for them in the future. So strategies for the classroom that have been proven to work by other teachers. The biggest one was positive reinforcement, just because students need to be positively reinforced, and all negative connotations kind of can just bring them down and not really help, especially with this disability. So being positive is so helpful. A reward system. And by reward system, I know in no means way mean like bribing, but more like a behavior chart. I've seen this used a lot in classrooms where if a student shows that they can do the expected behaviors from the teacher, say 4 or 5 out of 7 subjects a day, they can earn a reward at the end of the day. After that, I have behavior charts. This is kind of similar to the reward system, but the reward system can also be with educational stuff. The behavioral charts would be just behavior. Few to no social interactions, and by this I don't mean that they can't interact with others socially. I mean more as though like the teacher should be eliminating unnecessary issues, such as like picking partners. You don't want that student to be left out, so either prompting them to move along and get a partner or picking a partner for them could be something that really helps in the classroom, especially for the younger students. Lastly, strategies to develop self-determination, advocacy, and positive social interactions. First, I said be honest. I think being honest with students can be a huge help in their progress, because if they're not being lied to, they know how it is from the very beginning, which can help them to move along faster throughout their progress and feel like they can trust the individuals who are helping them. Next, I have share with them the possible struggles that they might have. If they don't feel as though they were told the truth to, they can not really know what's coming next and not know how they're going to struggle and try things that they're just going to be set up to fail, which is not really fair to a student. Not saying that they are always going to fail or that they can't overcome these things, but it just might be something that they have to work towards a little bit harder than, say, another student. Explain how the students can break barriers. I think this is really important because sometimes there are stereotypes with disabilities, but there's always room for improvement, and that goes along with my next thing, to be a light to others. I think that everyone is in a different place in their journey, especially with a disability like this. So when you are at the end of your journey or you have progressed a lot, I encourage students or individuals to be a light to others and really just push others to be as progressive as you've been. And that's it.